Welcome back, friends. Okay, rooting out hidden faults. How the particular examine conquers sin. And he's talking about the particular sin that derives from the principal vices and how to identify them within each of us, in a general way, and become holier, right? By rooting them out. So that's kind of the deal. Father McElhorn is concerned with developing character towards the good. It takes into account the chief vices, their manifestation in a person's life, which is sometimes subtle, and offers practical remedies in all aspects of one's life. The soul who is self-aware in regards to their temperament, which we started with first, our matter, our nature, how we call it, we'll take this examination now, which is now going into our character, and we'll find a suitable, personalized course of action, which is unique to you or unique to me. Rooting out these faults or tendencies to sin will make the soul happier, as they are frequently the source of unhappiness to ourselves and towards others, which Sarah just said. That soul who will say, I'm not a morning person, and then does nothing about remedying that, is not only unhappy themselves, their household is unhappy as well. So, yes, this happiness, who I'm studying Dan Burkhardt at the moment, and he says those who walk with the Lord should see an improvement, not just with themselves, but those around them. Exactly right.
Because grace is exponential. Right? I mean, it's just the ability for it to shed its light, right? If we think about that, where grace enters in, vice can't be, right? I mean, virtue is kind of like light, and vice is like darkness. And where virtue enters in, vice must flee, right? And a little bit is the true. Like if you let the light of your virtues dim, sure, just like the creeping, evening will come in and it will seem to be diminishing the light, right? But that's actually not what's happening. It's just that the earth is turning away from light, right? And the minute that she turns back, the dawn rises again, and light is dispersed and darkness is scattered, because darkness has no substance at all. There is no matter for darkness. There is no matter for vice, right? Boethius has that great line that if God can do anything, right? There's nothing that God can do. God can't do evil, therefore evil is nothing, right? It has no. When we were talking about these temperaments, really temperaments do have some element of like matterness, right? They really do pertain, because God made us as sensual human beings that engage not only spiritually in a life, but materially as well. And so although these temperaments are not tangible in the sense of, like I can take it out of me and whatever, it is part of all of the way that I engage with my own personal substance, and that includes my body and my soul, is manifested through those temperaments. And if we are going to engage with them because of concupiscence, right, back in the day of Adam and Eve, there would have been no downside to any of these temperaments, right? That element, that turning away from the light would not have allowed this seeming appearance of these negative aspects of these temperaments. But even when we expose these temperaments to the light, these things that seem to be negative elements of them are really just facets that reflect light in a different way, right? That they can be channeled and they can be directed toward the good. So somebody who will say that he's a melancholic choleric, so they're grumpy and sad all the time. okay, well, but you could also be thoughtful and empathetic and a real leader. You know, I mean, what would not be beautiful about a thoughtful and empathetic leader? Nothing, right? I mean, so those tendencies toward introspection that melancholic might have, those tendencies toward leadership that a choleric might have, when you take both of those things together and shine the light of grace on them, even the things that seem negative are really capable of being directed towards your own personal sanctification, and with that, the sanctification of those who are around you.
That's right. That's right. So we want to take stock of these faults or uh, evil tendencies, weaknesses to sin, and make the soul happier, as they're frequently, as I said, the source of unhappiness for ourselves and others. So the particular examine is a daily exercise that we use in this, and it can help us as a measure of our progress. So, you know, those who engage in this spiritual walk should have some sense that this year was better than last year, the year before, and that sort of thing. And there are different measures one can use, and Father McElhorn proposes one. Um, so the subject of the particular examine is one's predominant fault, and a predominant fault is that fault that brings forth one's ordinary temptation, or that which one is prone to fall into or has fallen into most frequently in the past. Um, what a delight it would be, a deep satisfaction of living 1 week for God. He has that quote, and wouldn't that be nice? This is the idea and the ideal, and it takes heart, perseverance, and courage. So, I'm going to talk about. So you go through. So there are different chapters. You read them. There are questions, such as from the following for the pride of timidity. So he starts off right, pride of timidity. So there are different types of pride. Do I think timidly? So you wouldn't think timidness is a aspect of pride,
Yes.
but my friend, it is. My friend, it is.
Yep.
Because we want to hide our weaknesses from others so they don't think less of us. And that's, that's where the timidity comes from. So am I easily embarrassed? Is self-conscious? Do I recognize my weakness as they really are? So there's these questions, and for each of the vices, he has a similar set of questions. Anger, how to, and he will also offer remedies as to how to counter that. So
I don't know him in the particular. Does he divide up your root sins into the standard sins of pride, vanity,
yes,
and sensuality?
he
Is that
goes
how?
pride, avarice, lust, anger, gluttony, envy, and sloth. He uses the
Okay,
seven.
he's just going through the seven deadly sins. Okay,
Yes.
right.
And there are different manifestations, such as under pride, we had pride of timidity. And there are a few other different types of pride there as well. Yeah, it's a predominant fault. So there's
Interesting. So
pride of
so
authority.
the basis of his book then would be, so to engage with this particular text, one would have to make sure that they have at least an understanding of these seven deadly sins, so that you can know what you need to be aware of, fundamentally.
Yes.
Because I do
Yes.
think, we suffer from a woeful, it goes to, I think it's what, from Revelation, my people are perishing for lack of knowledge. Our Lord knows that, well, Satan knows that the fastest way to make people fall into sin is to make them stupid, right? And then stupidity, it's vice building upon vice is what he's going to do. And so to make sure that to at least know them, to be able to name them is a very important element.
So you're bringing up wisely. What is the presupposition here? So what are his presuppositions for the reader with this text is what I'm hearing. Um, okay, I see we're at the mark, and I think that's a good thing to address. So let us pick up at the next episode. Till then, my friends, fides et ratio.